Good morning, and happy Sabbath. Good morning. Welcome to Dr. T Time, where we have live discussions about everything that affects us every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you for joining us this morning. We have beside us our special guest, Bree Stallworth, and we welcome her to the show. Good morning, Bree. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, doing well. I'm ready to rock and roll. As a matter of fact, I've already been rocking and rolling this morning. So, I'm among the living. That's what I do. Act like I'm among the living. So, we're glad to have you. Uh, and we're having someone else join us as well. So, we're waiting for her to be set up. So, Bree, uh, I met you in a room working for this cause. And
Yes, ma'am.
when I saw what you were working for, good morning. How are you this morning?
Good morning.
You good?
Yes, ma'am.
You been rocking and rolling like me already this morning?
A little bit.
Well, it's a good thing. Now we're among the living. Let's do what the living do. That's what I always say. That's how I am motivate myself. So Bree, when I met you, I saw you. I've seen you before, but when I met you, you were in a room with some ladies, and they were strategizing. And
Yes,
so when I saw that y'all was strategizing and what you were strategizing for, I said, this is something we need to bring to the community. So I want you to tell us what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what you need us to do to help you.
Miss Nicole, you want to, or you want me to?
Well, how about I go first? It will go with brief, but
We can't understand you, so just a moment.
by that.
Yes,
Okay. Sorry, y'all.
no problem.
So, Bree is our voter registration director for our county office. She works for us. Our organization is called Real Women Radio Foundation. And we do voter registration. We have a goal to register over about 10,000 people in Northwest Florida, and Bree is in charge of that Escambia County farm, which includes Okaloosa and Santa Rosa County. And basically, we're targeting people of color, so that's African Americans, Latino groups. And what Bree does is she keeps that engine running. So she's in charge of about maybe 10 canvassers, maybe more. She sends people out to the field, but I'm sure she'll tell you about that. But our goal is just to get people of color registered, and then we'll kick into what we call GOTV mode, which is get
Mm-hmm.
out the vote.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to those people that we have registered polls.
Mm-hmm.
We're not the one
Well,
president.
hold on a second. You broke up again on that sentence.
Okay. All right. Might switch devices in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not profit, we're 501(c)(3), and it's all nonpartisan work. So brief tell you how you all can help. But brief
We
help
we
um,
can't understand you again. You said Bree can tell us.
can assist you on what she needs help with,
Mhm,
and she can also talk about like how other people can join in our effort. Want to
mhm.
switch the
Okay. Thank you. We appreciate that. That's a good introduction for us. So, Bree, tell us where we go from here.
Yes, ma'am. Like she said, my name is Bree. I'm the voter registration director for Escambia in Okaloosa County in Summer Santa Rosa. So we are currently hiring. We are always hiring some people that are very enthusiastic about voting and are for the cause.
Mm-hmm.
So we are hiring. We're just getting people to vote. We recently just did Juneteenth, and we had over almost 200 people
Mm-hmm.
sign up. So we're
Mm-hmm. Great.
always looking for events to go to as well. So if there's
Mm-hmm.
any events or any type of business that you have, and you would like for some of my experienced canvassers to come
Mm-hmm.
out,
Mm-hmm.
we would love to come out.
Mm-hmm.
You just give me a call.
Mm-hmm.
My email is bstarve at realwomanradiofoundation.org. So you can give me an email with your business or if you have an event, and I have some of my experienced canvassers come out.
Great. I'm gonna make sure that. Okay, it's up. Your emails are there, and your
Can
phone
you
number
take
is
that one off?
850. Say again.
Can you take that other one off? That's my personal one.
Take the
The G,
personal
the,
one
the
off.
Gmail, the Gmail.
Take the personal one off and just
Yes,
leave
ma'am.
the Real Woman Radio Foundation.org.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you take the personal email address off, please? We'll take it down. There you go. Okay, so there we
Thank
go. Um, with the email address for Bree, who is the director of getting more voters registered, and her goal is 10,000. 10,000. So, what is the time frame of people becoming registered voters? What is the deadline for it?
It's around October, but we have a goal in August to get
Mm-hmm.
about 3,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
So in August, I would say around, I'm just gonna say August 5th to buy me time. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say August 5th, I have a goal at least 3,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Mm-hmm.
have any events out in the community or even have a business that we could
Mm-hmm.
come to get some of my experienced cameras out there, because
Mm-hmm.
it's very important that we get our people to vote.
Okay. Well, that's great. So you hear that they are looking for events to attend so that they can drum up more voters, and they're not going to discriminate, of course, but their goal is to get more brown people, people of color, to be registered voters. And if you think about our history, and you have listened to a little bit of what has happened in the past, you know that we had ancestors and other people to die trying to make us get voting rights. Now we have the voting rights, uh, and I need for all of us to understand that it is our right to vote. I mean, even if you don't like the candidates that are running, you can go in and put someone else's name in, so there's no excuse, no reason for you not to vote. I know things are a little bit difficult sometimes, voters, but Bree, are you able to elaborate a little bit on what a registered voter should have when they go to vote, what they should keep watch of to make sure they're not eliminated from the list of voters? Do you have any information to share with us about that?
Yes, ma'am. We are nonpartisan, so we don't really go into details on who or what to vote for. So we just, long as you are registered to vote. When you go to the polls, it's very good to have your photo ID, of course, and your voter's registration card. If you do not have a card, that's where we come in at. We'll be more than happy to get you fill out one of our forms and get a new card when you go to the polls. So a driver's license and that voter registration card will save you a lot of, especially the card will save you a lot of time. So that's what we come in at. Get you signed up and get you a new card as well.
So
So you'll
you'll have the forms when you're out at these different events. You provide the forms, and you fill it out. Do you have to have your ID at that time to complete a form?
um so on the form you can either provide me the last four of your social or your photo ID, either
Okay.
one on the form.
Okay. All right. And then from that form, once it's completed, what happens?
Once that's completed, they my campus will bring it to me. I'll analyze it. I'll send it to my quality control person, Miss Annie Joyce, which is amazing, and she'll get it off to supervisor election. And it'll take a couple business days for you to receive your card, but you will receive your card.
Okay. And so then, is there something else that we need to be aware of once we are a voter, we are registered to vote? I've been hearing little rumors about you have to do vote by mail or something. I mean, just tell me a little bit about that. We want to know today if you can tell us about the hindrances that we have once we're registered voters. How do we keep track of us being on the list and not being eliminated or taken away from the list? Our name scratched off, and when we go to vote, our name's not on the list. Do you have any information on that that could help us?
Dr. Tony, I'm gonna jump back in right there.
Okay.
Because Bree, she more or less is like, making sure our team is on track on the field. But you have heard that there are a lot of organizations that highly recommend voting by mail. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to. It's just that what they are trying to, some people's strategy is that you never know what might happen on election day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't necessarily recommend that. I recommend that if you can early vote, early vote. If you prefer voting by mail, me personally, I love going to the polls. You
Me
know, it's a
too.
personal preference. And
Yes.
so, like I said, some people just have that recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
But my recommendation is, what do you prefer? I prefer going into the polls. I'm
Mm-hmm.
absent minded a lot of times on stuff like that. So it'll be November, it'll be Thanksgiving, and I remember that I did not mail off my voter registration card. That's just me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But maybe there are some people, but that seems to be a push. There have been a lot of laws that have been passed to hinder the process of voter
Mm-hmm. Yes.
registration, but they've
Mm-hmm.
been primarily targeted toward organizations like ours, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, what the goal is that they want to restrict, three PVO, which is third party voter registration organizations,
Mm-hmm.
and a three PVO are your NAACPs, your
Mm-hmm.
AKAs, your
Mm-hmm.
Real Women Radio
Yes.
Foundations,
Yes.
right? Your
Mm-hmm.
smaller organizations that back in the 60s mobilized Black people to vote. And that's how we got people like John F. Kennedy in place,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
you had these three PVOs
Mm-hmm.
and that really mobilized Black people, right?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what John Lewis got his start at in voter
Yes. You
registration during that
absolutely.
time.
Yes, absolutely.
And so those things, they have increased the fines.
Mm-hmm.
They've also started purging the
Mm-hmm.
voter roll,
Mm-hmm.
which purge has always happened. And a lot of these laws are things that weren't new. They just restricted them a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that if you haven't voted in two elections, then you're purged off the rolls, right?
Mm.
It used to be about three or four elections you purged off the rolls. So
Mm-hmm.
technically, if you haven't voted since Barack Obama,
Mm-hmm.
then you are off the rolls.
Oh
Then
my.
they do things like they have increased the fines for people like us. But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, that's if you're doing something wrong, right? So
Right.
they're saying, if you so an organization like ours, where Bree runs our field, we pay people $20 an hour to work. And
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes, unfortunately, in this work, people will go and make up forms in order
Mm-hmm.
to continue to have that job. You
Oh.
should go to jail if you do that.
Right. Right. Rightly so.
Yeah, yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so they have increased the penalty for that, and
Mm-hmm.
they also have increased the fines when it relates to you used to have 14 days once as a three PVO to turn
Mm-hmm.
those forms in. Well,
Mm-hmm.
now you only have 10, so they've increased that turnaround time.
Okay. Good.
And so, honestly, Dr. Tonie, I don't like the changes. We don't like the changes. You know, it just makes our job a lot more tighter. But
Yeah.
at the same time, as the old gospel song said, I won't complain.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I won't complain is because people were hung so we could
Mm-hmm.
vote. People were
Yes.
hosed. People were
Yes.
beat. People were killed. So me filling out a receipt, going to the poll, or just checking on my stuff, or us just going 10 days worth, first 14 days, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, that's nothing. That's an honor and privilege, because somebody has already paved the way,
Already
um,
paved it.
from much worse circumstances.
That's right.
So, I try not to look at all the negative. I try not
Mm-hmm.
to look at it in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
We try to
Mm-hmm.
just continue to do this work, and we
Mm-hmm.
just continue to power on, just
Mm-hmm.
like Black people have always done. And
Mm-hmm.
I could get very passionate about this. When you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about these rights and you talk about what we've done,
Mm-hmm.
I've visited so many museums. I've just
Mm-hmm.
understood what it has taken for us to get here.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand the power of our vote, and I understand power. Anytime that someone feels like you're taking their power, they're going to fight for it, and we
Right.
have to do the same.
Yes, we do have to do the same, and I like your compassion. You know, I have the same compassion, but we keep getting caught up in these loopholes,
Hmm.
and the voters don't know about the loopholes. You understand what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And so
Yes, ma'am.
I was trying to figure out how we could be always aware of these loopholes that are being tossed to us because we are who we are. Now, understand this: the fight is real. And on top of the fight being real, we're much worthy because there is
Hmm.
a fight.
Hmm.
So I hope you all got that
Yeah.
because the fight is real. And you don't fight to get a piece of light bread. You're fighting because there is something real that you need to fight against.
Hmm.
Something that's intelligent, smart, still thriving anyway,
Mm-hmm.
anyhow, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fights get stronger and stronger. So I need for all of these young people and middle-aged people, even our senior citizens, because they're real powerful and strong because they grew up in that system.
Mm-hmm.
We have been privileged to not have to see the colored and white signs all around like they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So their advocacy work is a little bit more compassionate and deep because they experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
And the gap with the young people is that they just read about it. And so we
Mm-hmm.
gotta somehow figure out how to engage our young people again to understand how important it is to vote, why it's important to vote, and all those loopholes that we don't always hear about. We need to have a house, not a physical house, but some form of I don't know, information site where we can check on our voting rights and what new laws they come up this time to go against us so we can counteract that.
Well, I do have some suggestions, Dr. Tony.
Tell me.
Well, number one, in my opinion, and I mean, you can call me biased, but Black media. This show right here is how you get good information.
Mm-hmm.
Black media. We have always taken care of our community with our Black media, so we have to continue to support shows like yours. We have to continue to support local Black newspapers. We have to continue to support local Black radio stations.
And shows
We,
like yours too, as well.
yes, ma'am. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
ma'am.
Real
And
Women Radio. Mm-hmm.
yes, ma'am. We have to continue to support because we're going to disseminate that information within our community, right?
Yes, right.
Number two, you have a plethora of organizations like NAACP. You
Mm-hmm.
have Urban League in some cities.
Mm-hmm.
You have Movement for Change in the Pensacola area.
Mm-hmm.
You have a wonderful organization called Equal Ground in the state of Florida. They are
Mm-hmm.
Black led. I know the co-founder, a
Mm-hmm.
Black led organization. They do phenomenal work. Like
Mm-hmm.
July the 13th, they're going
Mm-hmm.
to have a legislative debriefing. And what they
Mm-hmm.
do is they put people in community,
Mm-hmm.
and during that time, they talk
Mm-hmm.
about all the laws that have been passed and how
Mm-hmm.
they affect Black people, particularly. And,
Mm-hmm.
they don't mix it up with everybody. It's just how they
Mm-hmm.
affect Black people. And there are other people, and we care about
Mm-hmm.
other people. But when we talk about our community, sometimes it's just like when you in community with women. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing.
Right.
You have, you just have a lot of people. You have, you could talk to your elected officials, right? Even
Right.
though they might not align with your party affiliation,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
still could talk to them. They're still obligated to speak
Right.
with you. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you should go to the Capitol. We just recently did a bus ride to the Capitol, where we took people from Escambia County, Okaloosa County,
Mm-hmm.
um, Santa Rosa County to Tallahassee to do a day at the Capitol. During legislative session,
Mm-hmm.
we should go down there and sit and listen and
Mm-hmm.
observe and
Mm-hmm.
talk to our elected representatives, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have options. We just got to get out the house and
Mm-hmm.
be intentional. You know,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
it's intentional. And
Yeah.
so, like you said, we are powerful, and other people. And the sad part about it is, so many other people see it, and we don't, and that's the problem.
Yes, that is a problem. Yes, we the fight is real, and
Mhm.
we're not saying that it doesn't exist. But what we're saying is, you don't fight against nothing; you fight against something.
Mhm. Mhm.
I want y'all to catch on to these words. Now, I'm trying to be kind here this morning, really kind, but I want you to catch on. The fight is real, and don't you ever give up your right to vote. Do you
Mhm.
have any information for those who have lost their vote their right to vote?
Good question. So, we're partnering with an organization, and it's a phenomenal organization called FRRC, Florida Rights Restoration Coalition.
Mm-hmm.
It was headed up by a dynamic man named Desmond Meade. Desmond has a book, but Desmond has won Person of the Year. Desmond has won the Meadows Award, I think, the Genius Award. Um, but Desmond, he was a convicted felon. He got on drugs, but he was also a law student, and he lost his right to vote. And back in 2018, we had a phenomenal campaign called the Fourth Amendment, where Floridians, because Florida was the fourth state, only four states left that did not automatically um, give people their rights back once they had
Mm.
completed their sentence, once they had been
Mm.
convicted of a felon. And
Mm-hmm.
Florida still was like, you convicted of a felon, you can't vote still, right?
Yeah.
Even though you done completed your sentence,
Mm-hmm.
you you still can't vote, right? You still can't,
Mm-hmm.
even though you pay taxes,
Yes.
everything else, but you can't vote. And it was only the four. Alabama, Mississippi had
Mm-hmm.
already given people their rights back once they completed their sentence. The state of Florida had not. And
Mm-hmm.
you know that's a whole other topic when we're talking about racism, because people
Mm-hmm.
don't think about Florida,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a group of everybody around the state, that a group of people, League of Women Voters, Real Women Radio Foundation, Equal Ground,
Mm-hmm.
FRRC left the charge to get Amendment 4 passed, where
Mm-hmm.
60% of Floridians said once a person has been convicted of a crime, we want
Mm-hmm.
them, and they have completed their sentence,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like two crimes that was left, and it was rape and murder, that you
Mm-hmm.
just couldn't get your rights. You had to go before a
Okay.
clemency board.
Okay.
All right. Oh, and let me just mention this. Rick Scott, who is currently running for Senate in the state of Florida,
Mm-hmm.
he slowed down the clemency board. The clemency board used to meet, and you could get your rights back. It was
Mm-hmm.
already a backlog.
Mm-hmm.
But when he got into office,
Mm-hmm.
he made the clemency board meet 4 times a year. It was
Okay.
already a backlog. So
Mm-hmm.
now you're talking, a person could apply for their rights. It would
Mm-hmm.
be 8 years before they
Oh
would even go
my.
before the clemency board, because he slowed it down. He stopped them from meeting.
What a shame.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's real.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Amendment 4, we worked really hard and we got it passed. 66% or 70% of Floridians in the entire state, black, white, Latino, whatever, said we want people to have their rights back once they
Mm-hmm.
have been convicted of a crime.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, your current governor, he goes and says, "Oh, we know that's what Floridians wanted, but we're gonna say, even though that wasn't in the law, he went
Mm-hmm.
and passed a law that says, oh, but they have to pay all their fines and fees prior to they getting their right to vote."
Mm-hmm.
So I know of a person who had $700 in fees and they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to vote,
Mm-hmm.
and went to go and pay them, and they owed $1,500 because there
Oh
was
my.
11% interest.
Oh my. We can't
eleven
get you
percent
one way. We're gonna try to get you another way, huh? Oh my, ridiculous.
The interest was more than the fines.
Oh my.
So
My
the
my
person
my.
had to pay $1,500 to get their right to
Mhm.
vote, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So when you talk about power, and 77% of black people in the state of Florida are convicted,
Mhm.
not of people convicted of felonies in the state of Florida, 77% were black.
Mhm.
So you're just talking about statistically who is these things made. So that was
Mhm.
your SB 90. So then a judge ruled SB 90 unofficial. I mean, said that historically speaking,
Mhm.
Republicans
Mhm.
oppress the black vote. That's what
Right.
the judge said. I'm not
Mhm.
making those words up.
Mhm.
But we're gonna. I'm getting to the answer to your question. But I want to tell you how we got here. So now you have organizations like FRRC who
Mhm.
help pay fines and
Mhm.
fees.
Mhm. Right.
You have organizations that are trying to get those things taken care of. So people, so
Mhm.
returning citizens is what we
Mhm.
call them, or people impacted by the justice system
Mhm.
can have the
Mhm.
right to vote. And
Mhm.
so basically, we just have to find a way for those fees and those fines to be paid so that
Yeah.
those they can have their right to vote.
So we need to be passed trying to get a bill passed to take away that interest, huh?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
would be nice.
that's kind of wrong. You already been incarcerated, right? So you're already working minimum wage unless you've got some other plan in mind for your future.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of money involved. I
Mm-hmm.
know I've heard about them people who've been in prison having to pay probational fees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so are those the fees we're talking about?
Yeah, no, we're just talking about, court costs is what they call
Okay,
them.
gotcha, gotcha.
So when a judge
Okay.
sentences a person, he gives court
Mm-hmm.
costs. Well, we're partnering
Okay.
with FRRC at the end of, I mean, July 19th, 20th, and 21st. We'll be in
Mm-hmm.
Pensacola on the 19th, and we're knocking doors, and we're asking people, hey, do you have a plan? We also want, people are being arrested
Mm-hmm.
because what was happening was people were convict people, returning citizens. They were getting their right to vote, and then the SOE was issuing them a card, and then our governor, he
Mm-hmm.
went and after we had the most secure election in the history of
Mm-hmm.
Florida, he went
Mm-hmm.
and budgeted the election police.
Just like something else happened last week. But
Yep.
anyway.
People were getting arrested, and so people were getting arrested for voting, even though
Hmm.
they were issued a card.
You remember after our last presidential election, it was the rule was made that they would cancel some of the early voting
Hmm.
times,
Hmm.
and one state said you couldn't feed the people standing in line to vote. It was a
That's
peculiar
Georgia.
time,
Yep.
and you couldn't give them any water.
Yep.
Uh, it's just a shame that they have to fight so hard.
Hmm.
But we're fighters too.
Yep.
It's in our DNA. We can't
You're
help
right.
it. They're fighting up an uphill battle here.
Yep.
And so, what I need for us to have more people that feels that fight and ready to fight back in a
Yep.
positive way, not in violence or anything like that.
Hmm.
Just with your mind
That's
and
right.
the knowledge that you need, and just I believe in prayer. I'm so sorry if I'm offending anyone, but my disclaimer is that I believe in prayer and I know prayer changes things.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
Bria, I'm going to let you have a minute, and thank you. I call it a code, but
Yes, ma'am.
uh,
Yeah.
that's the way we are. We're friends, and
Yes, ma'am.
we're glad to be friends and partners with different
Yes.
things as well.
Yes.
So, Bree, I'm gonna let you have the last say on this show. And I'm thinking because it's really interesting, and this show will go on all the social media platforms, even across into Chicago and Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on a TV station. And I'm gonna give that information on how you can view that later. So, Bree, give me your final thoughts. Give me 2 sentences about what you're thinking now.
I
What you
just
need to
thank
say.
you guys for the opportunity to get on the platform and spread
Hmm.
awareness
Hmm.
on our cause.
Hmm.
It's something that we are all, who's all a part of Rural Radio, is very passionate about.
Hmm.
And for the world to hear about something we're so passionate about, we're just grateful for the opportunity. And
Yes.
I thank you for your time and even reaching out to give us the chance to be on this type of platform.
Absolutely, absolutely,
So
and I
I
need for you
just,
ladies to come back as well because
oh yes, ma'am.
we're gonna hit some deadlines, and so we need to get the information out just a little bit more. So we'll discuss your part two. I mean, if you want to do it next Saturday, it's not a problem for me if y'all available. But we'll discuss that. However you want to do it. I am grateful to do whatever I can to get the word out, and I surely want us to not lose our right to vote.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
Tea
Thank
Time
you.
will air on GMAP Broadcast Network every Saturday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You go to www.gmap1.com to watch. That's every Saturday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You just type in www.gmap1.com to watch this show again. And the show will air in this same show. They will take it to Fort Lauderdale, and you can do the same. So we have prayer. I already told you about how I feel about that. Every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. It's a corporate prayer, which makes it great. Where one, two, three are joined in prayer, we get the effects, we feel the effects of that quickly. So join the prayer, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. All you have to do is dial 605-313-5883. And so I'm going to bid you ladies farewell, and I want to thank you again for being on the show. Let's do it again. Have a good day
Thank
and happy Saturday.
you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.